currently feeding a toddler and you feel like the food that you're making is being completely untouched? You're not alone. Maybe your child loved a food last week and now he refuses to even look at it. Or maybe you're just running out of ideas. Maybe you are tired of seeing all these perfect toddler meals online while your reality looks more like leftover fruit, pasta, and whatever you can put together before the next snack request. And maybe you may be wondering, what can I make that my toddler will actually eat? Not what they should eat, not what you see on Instagram, what they eat in real life. As a mom of two with one child already past the toddler phase, and another one starting his food eating journey, one thing that I've really come to realize is that feeding isn't about perfection. It's about finding meals that work, staying flexible when they don't, and most importantly, giving yourself shortcuts when you need them. So today, I want to share with you what feeding a toddler really looked like in my house, including the homemade meals, the convenience foods, the surprising wins, the complete failures, and the things that made life easier. Hi everyone, welcome back to The Organic Mama. If you're new here, my name's Nicole, and I talk about personal experiences as a mother of two, sharing parenting hacks and things that I did which helped make motherhood a lot easier. My youngest one is currently eating purees, which makes me get flashbacks of the feeding journey I had with my first son. And honestly, I forgot about how much mental energy feeding a toddler requires. And not because it's difficult to make the food, but because you're constantly thinking about it. Wake up in the morning, let's make breakfast. A couple of hours later, it's snack time. Then you gotta make lunch. You've got a nap in between to clean up the entire mess over lunch. And guess what? It's snack time again. A little bit of playtime, and then it's dinner. And then it's bedtime snack. So this is kind of what the routine looks like. So if you're looking for realistic toddler meal ideas, practical tips, and a reminder that you don't need to have it all figured out, let's discuss the topic of what feeding a picky toddler can actually look like. When I started solids with my firstborn son, I was more focused on introducing different types of food. Vegetables, fruits, allergens, textures, all the things that I was reading online. And I thought once I get through this phase, things will get a lot easier. But it didn't. It just became different because babies are actually excited to explore foods versus toddlers begin having opinions. Very strong opinions, actually. One day they want pasta with marinara sauce. The next day they don't. For their first snack, they were happy to have watermelon, but guess what? You can't give it for the second snack because he already had it for snack number one. One week, they're loving eggs. And the next week, they're tossing it onto the floor. And sometimes you spend 20 minutes preparing a lunch only to hear, "I'm not hungry," even though they asked for food 5 minutes ago. I learned pretty quickly that feeding a toddler isn't about making perfect meals. It's about having a rotation, a handful of meals that work, a backup of some options, and enough flexibility to adapt when your child decides all of a sudden that their favorite food is no longer their favorite food. For us, a typical week usually included a combination of pasta, chicken, fruit, yogurt, rice, quesadillas, muffins, smoothies, and cheese. A lot of cheese. And yes, whatever type of vegetable I can put onto the plate or secretly sneak in there without turning dinner into a hostage negotiation. I noticed that simple meals actually performed better than complicated ones. I used to think that I had to make these perfect meals that I had saved on a Pinterest board. You know, the kinds you see cut into little cute shapes, stars, hearts, perfectly arranged with plenty of variety. And while these meals look very beautiful, my reality was very different. Sometimes that meal got eaten best with something as simple as scrambled eggs and plain toast, or pasta with a side of fruit, or just chicken and rice. Simple, predictable, familiar. And this made me realize Toddlers don't really care about how picture perfect their meal really is. They care whether they could recognize it. Okay, let's talk about food phases for a minute, because every parent knows exactly what I'm talking about. 1 month, your toddler wants bananas every single day. So you go and buy extra bananas. You become a banana household. And then suddenly, no more bananas. And you're sitting at 6 bananas on your counter wondering what happened. And what I taught myself is do not panic when these phases start to happen. Most of the time, they're actually quite temporary, and that food will come back eventually to satisfy your toddler's taste buds. Maybe not next week, maybe not next month, but eventually. A big mindset shift that I made was stopping myself from evaluating one meal. Instead, I started looking at the entire week, because some lunches were amazing and others were disasters. But when I looked at everything together, it felt like things balanced each other out. There was protein, there were fruits and veggies, there were carbs, and overall things were going much better than they felt during that moment. I think as moms or parents, we put so much pressure on ourselves for making every single meal perfect, when that's just not realistic, especially with toddlers. So instead of trying to win every single meal, I focused on what's gonna make my life easier. Thanks to my first son, what I accepted was that convenience isn't cheating. It's actually a tool, because some days I genuinely enjoy cooking. I'll wake up in the morning, make pancakes, bake some muffins during a nap, make pasta and meatballs from scratch, that whole entire thing. But other days, I'm holding the baby trying to answer emails. There's laundry waiting for me, the floors need to be washed, and somehow it's already lunchtime. And it's on those days that I no longer feel guilty about reaching for something that's convenient. I always keep a mix of homemade meals, freezer staples, leftovers, and ready to go some toddler options when I'm not in the mood to cook. One of those options that became part of our rotation was Little Spoons Biteables. What I like about them is that they're specifically made for toddlers that are starting to learn how to eat independently. And they come in different meal varieties, so it doesn't feel like I'm serving the same thing over and over. They're just there on those busy days when I need lunch on the table quickly. The day that I've been running errands all morning and with a baby in my hand, I just need one less thing to think about. And honestly, having options like that has taken a lot of pressure off of me, because I've realized that being a good mom isn't about making every single meal homemade. Sometimes it's just about knowing how to make your life easier. Speaking of making life easier, one thing that really helped us out was making snack plates. I wish I actually discovered them sooner. Some nights, dinner looked like cheese, fruits, cucumbers, yogurt, maybe a mini sandwich. Nothing fancy, but it got eaten. And honestly, sometimes that's the biggest parenting win of the day. I also noticed that when I mixed familiar foods with something new, there was a much better chance that the new food would actually go into the mouth and not onto the floor. Not always, because toddlers are still toddlers, but enough times that it became one of my favorite strategies. Looking back on those picky feeding toddler moments, I don't remember every single meal that I made, but I do remember those little moments around the table. The messy faces, the food on the floor, the tiny bites that turned into bigger bites over time, the excitement when they tried something new for the first time and actually liked it. Feeding toddlers isn't just about nutrition. It's also about building confidence, curiosity, and positive experiences with food over time. And now I get to experience all these little special moments with my youngest son again. If there's one thing that I hope you take away from this video, is that don't judge yourself based on one meal or even 1 week. Toddlers change constantly, and so does their appetite. Their preferences and routines change, and that's all part of growing up. So keep on offering these different types of foods and resort to convenience with ready prep meals like Little Spoons Biteables when you need it. Keep making meal times as relaxed as possible. Celebrate those little wins, whether it's taking a small little bite or just simply sitting at the table together, because those small moments add up over time. And remember, feeding your toddler doesn't have to look like anyone else's family. Whether dinner is homemade from scratch or leftovers from the day before, or any convenient option that helps you get food onto the table after a busy day. What matters most is that you're finding a rhythm for you and your family. I'd love to hear about what's one thing that's always a win in your house when it comes to feeding a picky toddler. I'm always looking for new ideas, and I know every other parent in the comments is looking for some too. See you in the next video. If you've enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe, like, and join our Organic Mama community.